Good morning, everyone, and I'd like to take just a few minutes this morning during this homeroom to talk to you a little bit about the Tardy Policy. When I first came to Forest Hills a couple years ago, we had a real problem with the Tardies, and so we developed the Tardy Policy, and we tweaked that policy over the year and a half that I've been here to try to make it fit our school as best as possible. We're very pleased with the progression we've had with Tardies. Tardies are getting much better. But, of course, as with anything, we're not completely happy because we've not eliminated all Tardies at Forest Hills High School. We certainly don't ever think we'll eliminate all of them, but we want to eliminate as many as possible, and I'll talk more about that as we go through the presentation. So first of all, let's start off by talking a little bit about our Tardy Philosophy. First of all, the reason why we think Tardies are important is because we think that being on time to school is very closely related to being on time to work later in life. One of our jobs as teachers and staff members here at Forest Hills is to prepare you for success later on in life after high school, and being on time is just one of those things that we think you'll need to be successful. We want to impress upon you now the importance of being on time so that you can build good habits for the future. We do not believe, and we would certainly argue with any of you who would say there is, but we do not believe that there is a job in the world where being consistently late to that job would be acceptable. We think that would cause you many, many problems, including being terminated from that job. So again, that's why we want to make sure that you understand being on time and tardies are a very big deal. All right, first of all, let's define what a tardy is. Obviously, some teachers are going to define that just a bit different than others, but in general, a tardy is defined as being in the class when the bell rings. Again, you'll need to make sure that you know the individual nuances of your teachers, but it's really important to note that a tardy is any time up to 5 minutes late. After you are 5 minutes late, when you are more than 5 minutes late to a class, you are considered to be skipping that class, and you will be referred to the office by your teacher. Now, I did put in parentheses here, except for first period, and the reason why I put except for first period is because we know that coming onto campus is a little different than being on campus and not going to class on time. So first period, we don't necessarily say that you're skipping if you're more than 5 minutes late. You're still considered tardy. Now, for any block, whether it's first period or not, after 15 minutes, you are considered to be absent. And again, I've written on here, and possibly skipping, because if you're on campus supposed to be in class and you've been missing for more than 15 minutes, we would define that as skipping class also. So not only would you get an absence that period in that class, you would also get a referral to the office for skipping. So again, those are just some important notes to add on here as we talk about tardies. Now, for moving on from there, we want to make sure that everybody understands kind of how that works. And first of all, each teacher records this NNC-wise as a late. So when a student comes late to class, teachers record you NNC-wise as late. And then those tardies are compiled in a database. Somebody here in the school does that. We track your tardies to each of your 4 blocks by downloading at the end of each day all the students who were marked late NNC-wise. Now, here's a little chart that kind of demonstrates how tardies work here at Forest Hills. You know that we sort of work in threes. For your easy understanding, we work in threes. So on your third tardy to any one of your classes, you will receive lunch detention. We will be holding lunch detention again this semester. We'll get information out to you as we need it, where that will be held and who will be doing that. But we have lunch detention on your third tardy. Failure to go to lunch detention results in assignment to after-school detention. We've got a failure to show for each of our consequences. We ramp those consequences up. So if you refuse to go to lunch detention, that's fine. We will assign you to after-school detention. Hopefully to demonstrate to you that it's important just to go to lunch detention, then you'll have to fool with the more strict consequence. Now, again, working in threes, so on your 6th tardy, again, this is to any one of your blocks, you are assigned a day of after-school detention. ASD here would indicate after-school detention. So then if you refuse to go to that day of after-school detention, we will just reassign you to 2 days of after-school detention. So it's really important that you know when you have after-school detention that you show up for that. On your 9th tardy, again here as we move down, on your 9th tardy, you're assigned 2 days of after-school detention. Refusal to go to any of those 2 days of after-school detention will result in a day of Saturday school. Okay, again, continuing to move down to our 12th tardy to any one of your classes will result in Saturday school. Failure to show for Saturday school results in a day of out-of-school suspension. Again, you can see our pattern here at 15 and going over 15 to 18, 21, 24. You see that each one of those is 1 day of out-of-school suspension if you get that many tardies to one of your classes. Okay, so now it's important to note that tardies are tracked by block. They're tracked in each one of your blocks. So if we flip back to the chart, you can see that this is just for one block. So you could be getting these consequences in first block. You could be getting these consequences in second, third, and fourth block also. So this means that a student could receive lunch detention 4 times, once for each of your blocks. You could receive after-school detention 12 times under this policy. At 6 tardies, you could get 1 day of after-school detention for each of your 4 classes, and then at 9, you could get it 2 more times for each, and you add that all up, and that could be a maximum of 12 times. You could have Saturday school 4 times, and you could have any number of days of out-of-school suspension. Now, of course, that means you've got a lot of tardies in multiple classes, and we don't have very many students who do that, but we do have a few of you who sometimes are confused about how do I have lunch detention 2 days in a row, or how do I have after-school detention on Tuesday and Thursday? And the reason is because you've gotten multiple or too many tardies in multiple classes, and so that does start to compound on some of you. This is why it's really important for you to pay attention to that and go to class as regularly as possible. Now, let's talk a little bit about how tardies affect the student incentive points. You know that all of you at the end of each 6 weeks receive student incentive points. Those points can be used for free period. We're about to have our first semester drawing for prizes. You know, we'll give away about $1,000 worth of prizes each semester, including iPads, iPods, cards to the movie theater, different places that you can receive gift cards to. And so those points are important. And so how do tardies affect your student incentive points? And they're just real quick. Students who receive 0 to 3 total tardies, regardless of the block, during a 6-week period receive 2 points. Remember, you can receive a maximum of 2 points in each of the 5 categories. Tardy is 1 of the 5. So you can get 2 points if you have 0 to 3 total tardies during 6 weeks. Now, that doesn't mean 0 to 3 in any one block. It means 0 to 3 total. So you could have 1 tardy in 3 different classes during 6 weeks and still receive 2 points. Okay, students receiving 4 to 6 total tardies, again, regardless of the block, during a 6-week period will receive 1 student incentive point. So you lose 1 point when you get to that 4th tardy during a 6 weeks period. And then you can see a student receiving 7 plus total tardies during a 6 weeks period, regardless of the block, are given 0 points in the student incentive. So tardies are not only important to you from the standpoint of you're trying to avoid consequences, but there are also rewards for you if you go to class on time. We want to make sure that we're not just punishing you at Horace Hills when you do something wrong, but we are also rewarding you when you do things right at our school. Other points that I would like to make, just a few things. Number 1, it is important for students to keep your relationships with your teachers positive and healthy. We talk about this all the time. You need to make sure that your teachers, who are the ones who award you your grades and your credit at the end of semesters, like you and want to see you do well. Consistently coming into class late can be a source of irritation and a problem for teachers. And they can also think that you're not taking their course seriously if you're constantly coming in late. So just keep in mind that not only is there the consequence of after-school detention or lunch detention or whatever that might be, and you're losing points in the student incentive program, but you're also making your teachers frustrated because once they get started teaching, they start class and they're going, and then you come walking in late, that can lead to problems there with your relationships with your teachers. So make sure you remember that. Okay, so hopefully you found this helpful. Again, I'll just flip back real quickly to the chart as I talk over these last few sentences. Make sure you have got this burned in your brain, mostly that there are consequences and there are rewards for tardies, but mostly that it's very, very important to go to class on time to get the full experience in your classroom. Again, thank you for listening. I hope all of you have a great day.